Life usually moves forward in the same rhythm until a moment suddenly comes and turns everything upside down. A sudden shock, an unexpected event, and in an instant the familiar world becomes unfamiliar, and all such scenes are what we are going to see today, so let's start. Always maintain a safe distance from big trucks. You should always be prepared for any situation because dash cams can record all the dramatic moments but cannot save your life. Remember that the value of life is much more than time. Although many have not yet understood that. While trying to break the building where the drawer collapsed, the entire building collapsed first. The operator survived. But that moment will be the most terrifying memory of his life. If there is such a road, the life of the car is reduced by half. Such an incident does not happen only once. The world gives people a taste of new realities every day. You go live and see it. It is terrifying. Greater than this is not a scene from a movie, it is a brutal picture of reality. The dam could not withstand the excessive pressure of the water and millions of people had to be evacuated, but at least there was no loss of life. A small mistake. And now it will take a few bulldozers to remove the rubble of that mistake. Everyone was evacuated before the road collapsed. Because sometimes fate gives people second chances. A multi-level car park in Manhattan suddenly collapsed. And within seconds, the entire place was reduced to rubble. The wall of an old factory in northern China suddenly collapsed, taking with it 17 cars, including a luxurious Rolls-Royce. The total damage was more than $400,000 and, unfortunately, there was not a single penny of insurance. The incident of the bridge collapse could have turned into a terrible tragedy in the end. But in the end, everyone survived. It was a relief that everyone survived. In just 45 seconds, the skyscrapers were reduced to dust, as if a city had disappeared before our eyes. It took months to remove the ruins of the nearly 100-year-old bridge. Destruction can sometimes be very rapid. But it takes time to erase its traces. After a long legal battle, the decision was finally made to demolish the building. Although the first two failed, the third explosion turned everything into dust. This building in Taiwan tilted at an angle of about 45 degrees in the 2024 earthquake. And it took about 2 weeks to safely demolish it. On June 10, 2024, a powerful landslide in Teton Pass, Wyoming, destroyed a large section of the highway. Drone footage shows deep cracks in the road and guard rails hanging in midair. The building's condition after demolition looks like a city destroyed after a war. On July 8, 2020, a nearly 20-meter tall crane collapsed on a house in London. And then a desperate rescue operation began to save lives. What you wrote is good, but to make it more impactful, you need to add a little more tension, emotion, and visual images to the script. Below, I have written a new 8 to 10 minute documentary script in your style, which you can use directly for voiceover. Life never gives advance warning. Everything goes on smoothly. People are busy with their own work. And right at that moment, suddenly, a moment comes and changes everything. A sound, a vibration, a miscalculation. And in an instant, everything collapses. Today, we will look at some real-life incidents, where the lives of hundreds of people have changed in a matter of seconds. So let's get started. A busy highway. Cars are speeding along. Everything is normal, but suddenly, a truck's brakes fail. The driver can't control it no matter how hard he tries. And within seconds, a horrific chain accident occurs. One car after another starts hitting another. Smoke, fire, screams. The entire incident is captured on a dash cam. But that camera only recorded. It couldn't save anyone's life. Remember, safety on the road should never be left to chance. Now let's move on to another scene. A huge building under construction. Everything was going according to plan. But suddenly, a column weakened. At first, no one realized. Then, in just a few seconds, the entire structure shook. And then, the entire building collapsed. Dust covered the surroundings. People started running to save their lives. Fortunately, there was no major loss of life that day. But for those who saw that scene, it remained a lifelong nightmare. Now we see a terrifying form of nature. A big dam. Water has been accumulating for years. Everything was under control. But nature never follows its rules. The water pressure increases due to excessive rain. And at one point, the dam can no longer withstand that pressure. Suddenly, a loud noise. And then, the dam breaks. The water rushes towards the city in a strong current. People are running, screaming, fleeing with whatever they can. Within a few hours, the entire area is underwater. This is nature, which can take everything away in an instant. Now let's go to the middle of the city. A multi-level car park. Full of cars. People coming and going. Suddenly, a support below breaks. At first, a slight noise. Then, one floor after another begins to collapse. The cars are crushed together. In just a few seconds, the entire place turns into rubble. As if a structure has disappeared before our eyes. Now let's see another terrifying moment. An old bridge has been in use for years. People cross it every day, without any fear. But deep down, the bridge has become weak. One day, suddenly, it collapsed from the middle. Cars fell down. Panic spread all around. This incident reminds us, old infrastructure should never be neglected. Now let's come to a demolition site. An old building is being prepared to be demolished. Everything is set according to plan. The first explosion failed. The second time, that didn't work either. The third time, everyone is waiting with bated breath. Boom. In just a few seconds, the huge building was mixed with dust. As if nothing had ever been there. It doesn't take time to destroy. But it takes years to build. Now let's see a scene after an earthquake. A building is leaning at an angle of about 45 degrees. It could fall at any time. Engineers are working day and night, so that it can be brought down safely. Risk at every moment. Calculation at every step. Finally, after 2 weeks, it is successfully broken. This is the skill of humans, which finds solutions even in the midst of danger. Finally, one thing. Everything in this world is uncertain. What is there today may not be there tomorrow. A moment, a decision, a mistake, can change everything. So always be careful. Keep yourself and others safe. Because, dash cameras only record history. But the responsibility to save lives is yours.